What is up, fam? Welcome to the Manistee Local Podcast. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. What was that, Mr. Carter? On this episode of the Manistee Local Podcast, I bring back my good buddy, Willie McKenzie. We talk about a bunch of stuff on this podcast. We get into having purpose in your life. We talk about sprinkling a little bit of the Lord's good juju over the top of us, why it's important to have religion in your life. We talk about weight loss. Willie has gone through a wild transformation over the course of the last couple of years, and really over the last decade, with his drug addiction, coming out of that, being an aggressive entrepreneur. He's been on the show in the past. If you've listened to previous episodes with Willie, you know he's got one hell of a life behind him and an amazing future in front of him. So I'm excited to have him back on the show. I think you're going to really enjoy this podcast. So I hope you stick around to the end because we talk about all kinds of stuff. We had a ton of fun. But first things first, before we get started, we got to pay them bills. So this episode is brought to you by the Ramsdale Regional Center for the Arts. You can find them online at www.ramsdaletheater.org. The folks over at the Ramsdale Regional Center for the Arts want to let you know about their Winter Blues Beach Bash that's happening on February 16th at 7:30 p.m. They want you to know that you can break free from your winter blues and experience a night of tropical escape complete with beach vibes, cool tunes, and refreshing drinks. Don't miss the hottest party in town featuring the Downtowners. The Downtowners are a veteran group of musicians from northern Michigan that are still playing out and still having fun. The party starts at 7:30. Tickets are on sale now for $25. Get yours today because it will sell out fast. That's February 16th, folks, at the Ramsdale Regional Center for the Arts. But this episode is brought to you by Brandon Ball, broker-owner of Dwelling Realty, Keller Williams, Northern Michigan. Are you looking to sell your home? Then look no further. When you list your home with Brandon Ball, you'll get a trusted advisor who will guide you through the entire selling process. With extensive knowledge of the local market, he'll help price your home competitively to attract the right buyers. And with proven marketed strategies, your home will be seen by the most qualified of buyers. With 17 years in the business, you'll have someone experienced who's on your side. Contact Brandon today to get started selling your home. 231-690-4981. That's 231-690-4981. Or Brandon at dwellingrealty.com. This episode is brought to you by Just Clean, Manistee's premier car wash located at 146 Cleveland Street or just north of the US 31 bridge. Choose their ultimate car wash, folks. That's what I always do because I can't stand my truck being dirty. And the ultimate car wash is the best. It includes a triple foam conditioner, ceramic coating plus wax, and a 60-second heated blow dry. Get in, get out, get looking fly, get the dirt and dust and grime off your vehicle. Choose Just Clean Car Wash of Manistee. This episode is brought to you by Northern Spice Company, located at 378 River Street, Manistee, Michigan. You can contact them at 231-299-7492 or at spices at northernspiceco.com. Listen, folks, are you the type of person that just grinds in the kitchen trying to make a top shelf culinary experience for your loved ones? You're in the kitchen trying to make the best meatloaf, the best pot of chili, the absolute best pot of goulash. Where are you getting your spices? That's what I want to know. Where are you getting your spices? You're going to put all that hard work into making something that is an absolute masterpiece for your family, but you're going to skimp on the spices? What? Look, if you're buying your spices at the supermarket, I'm sorry. I feel sorry for your family. Because what could have been an amazing meal didn't quite come out the way you wanted it to, did it? But if you shopped at Northern Spice Company in Manistee, they make everything on site. They mix all their own spices. This stuff is there's no added preservatives, nothing extra added in other than the spice. Hey, you don't know where your spices are coming from when you pick them up off the shelf at Walmart. There could be wood chips in there for all you know. Not from Northern Spice Company. Use their Simple 3. I put that shit on everything. Sea salt, fresh ground black pepper, fresh ground roasted garlic. One stop. Sprinkle that on. Mwah. They have a steak season called Manistee Steak Seasoning, a holy hamburger, the Simple 3 like I already talked about, the pure maple sugar barbecue rub, the 1871 pork and poultry barbecue rub. I could go on and on. Hey, and don't skimp on the international seasonings either. No salt Italian seasoning, Saison seasoning, Italian seasoning with rosemary, and Greek seasoning. They also have a wide array of no salt choices, sauces, salsas, and syrups. Oh, but that's not all. They have one of the largest selections of teas in the county. Chamomile, Earl Grey, peach decaf, Italian breakfast. You want chai tea? They got that too. Ever heard of mango black tea? Neither have I. Spice Company's got it. How about a little Irish breakfast? They got that too. How about a little white chai? Yeah, it can keep going and going, folks. Northern Spice Company has all that you need to spice up your life and to warm yourself up with a little tea. Check them out, folks. Again, that's Northern Spice Company at 378 River Street, Manistee, Michigan. You can check them out at northernspiceco.com, or you can contact them at 231-299-7492, or send them a little love letter at spices@northernspiceco.com. Spice up your life.
We've done a bunch of these.
Yeah, cheers
buddy.
Good to see you, dog.
Thank you.
God,
Good to be seen.
You're so busy.
Oh, man.
I know you just said that you went on a kind of a food bender because you've been, watching those macros really hard.
Yeah, I was super disciplined for a good bit of time.
I mean, a long time, really. When did you start doing the whole fucking turkey and rice?
I started in the beginning of 2023, but I fell off for a while during the summer and put 15 pounds back on, and then I got real tight about it again in the fall, like end of the summer, fall.
Yeah, that 15 pounds can come quick, dude.
It's one of those things where it's like it takes months to get it off, and you put it back on in days. You know? It's kind of like you could be a bricklayer for 20 years, but you suck one cock and you're a cocksucker. You know what I'm saying? Kind of the same deal.
Kid show. Not really a kid show.
Not a kid show.
Not a kid show. Yeah, I did that 72-hour fast.
Oh, how was that?
Dude, it was pretty rad.
Yeah?
I was a little nervous. I would just, I don't know. I just felt really shitty and sluggish before doing it.
Yeah.
It was the holidays, eating like a dummy. And I was sick for a while. I had a really bad, sinus infection type deal.
Yeah.
I was just packed. I just felt horrible. I wasn't sleeping good. And I don't know, I watched... Do you follow, Gary Brecka?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, that guy's got some shit dialed in.
Yeah.
But I watched a bunch of his YouTube videos and kind of studied up on what he does for...
10X.
Yeah, but for the 72-hour fast.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, oh, fuck it, I can do that. Because you could do... It's all you just drink electrolytes to kind of keep you going.
Do you drink, bone broth and shit, too?
I actually did vegetable broth.
That's right. I forgot you're gay. In the best way.
I did vegetable broth.
Veggie broth.
Thank you.
Nice. Good. Good.
I almost picked up the bone broth, but I was like, the difference in nutrient levels to me wasn't that big of a deal. So I'm like, I'll just do So I did the first day, the first 24 hours, just water.
Okay.
And electrolyte mix, 0-calorie electrolyte.
Like Element or something?
What is the shit that I use? No, it's not Element.
It's a vegan one.
No, dickhead.
Anyways, it's my vegan electrolyte.
I can't remember what it's called, but I've been drinking it for a while. It's good shit. And then the next day you could bring in the bone broth the next during the next 24 hours. But I felt, first of all, I was never hungry.
Yeah.
Which I thought was
not even in the beginning.
No.
In hour 8.
No.
I feel like that's where I'll struggle. Or like hour 3.
I do feel like if hour 3, I do feel like if anybody does it, I honestly, I don't think it's like hunger. I never had hunger pains. I never was like, oh, I need to eat something. I was just like, this is just what you do. And I started at 5 o'clock at night and finished at 5 o'clock at night. Yeah. And I was like, if I can just make it past dinner, I'm good. Because I don't typically, eat anything until afternoon anyways. Right. So the first day, started at 5, did the whole, overnight, slept overnight, whatever, got up, did my gym routine, all the same stuff I normally do, and then just didn't eat, just pounded water, got a gallon of water, and just drank that all day long. Got to dinner time. That was the oddest thing because I do the majority of the cooking. Excuse me. So I made dinner, all the smells. I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be rough. Yeah. Sat down with a big glass of water at dinner. Yeah. And just watched everybody eat, and we just did our normal dinner routine and talked and whatever and cleaned up, and then that was done. I'm like, all right, if I can fucking do that, I'm good. Next day.
No struggles like before bed, like, I'd really love some vegan donuts right now.
No. And I don't snack either.
Oh, okay.
So there's like nothing at night for me where I'm like, I got to have something before I go to bed.
No beers?
No beers, no nothing. All right. And next day was a little bit more difficult only because towards the evening, towards dinner time is right about in that 40th hour, I was like starting to get sluggish. Yeah. But man, my fucking mind was sharp. Yeah. I was doing all kinds of work. And I don't know if that was like subconsciously I'm just trying to get all this stuff done because I'm hungry.
Stay busy,
get it off my mind. But like I said, I wasn't feeling hungry. I was just, of course, filling myself up with water. Right. But day 3 was the hardest. And it was only the hardest because of just my physicality. I tried to run. I've been doing
running and shit. I was going to say, did you run and shit?
So on my training schedule, I had like a 4-mile run that I had to do. And I'm like, I'll do it. Not a problem. I got about a mile in. Well, first of all, it was like a run walk. My legs were like, fuck you, dude. You can't do this. Yeah. There wasn't anything left. Right. Shit and water.
I was going to say, do you poop a lot?
Yeah. It just like all came out. And it was like, it was basically diarrhea.
Oh, okay.
The water coming in and everything going out. And I lost 12 pounds.
In 3 days? Wow.
Yeah. But, the majority of that was probably water weight.
Right.
But I could tell that I was just cleaning the system. And I felt amazing.
That's what really interests me is like giving my because when you really think about it, it's like I haven't given my digestive system a break in 39 years.
Yeah. Yeah. It was I'm going to do it once a quarter. So I'm going to do it at the end of March.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it's important. Some of the studies there say it like really helps prevent, certain diseases, Alzheimer's, shit, yeah. Cancers. Why the fuck wouldn't you just not eat? Right. Just don't be a fat piece of shit for 3 days and,
yeah,
reset your body. I feel like a good reset once a quarter. Meanwhile, I'm drinking a vanilla latte with a sweet cream foam on it.
Frappuccino.
But that's my addiction, really. Ice cold, sweet coffee drinks. But yeah, I don't know where these came from.
Erectile dysfunction.
Yeah. They just
my
showed
parents
up one day.
got me one of these.
An erectile dysfunction pill?
No, it's a coaster, and it's got a picture of Jesus on it in front of the burning bush, and it says, "Oh fuck, my weed." I'm like, oh, you guys are awesome. Thank you.
You should do the fast.
I want to do it.
Maybe in March we'll do it together. Then we can keep each other accountable.
One of the guys. It's kind of one of those things where like, one day I'm just gonna be like, all right, I'm fasting.
Yeah.
And then I'll do it. But there's like some guys I work with who have like oh, we're starting on the 12th, and like if I do that and have like think about it and lead up to it and
it's kind of what I did. I was just kind of like, hey, tomorrow, I told Betsy, I'm like, tomorrow I'm going to start a fast.
Yeah.
And it was cool. She was way on board.
Nice.
She worried about me.
Yeah.
You know, she was like, "Are you sure you want to do like? Why don't you just do a 24-hour fast?"
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't do anything like
Right.
small.
Half-ass, right.
I'm like, fuck it. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. I can go a day without eating.
Right.
You know, but can I do 3? And there's some wild shit out there where like 7-day fast and shit like that.
People go for a long time, dude. I saw a guy who went, 40 fucking days.
That's nuts.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
At what point do the benefits stop? You know?
Yeah, I mean, so like I'm at a place where I'm actually trying to put some muscle back on because in my tracking my process of losing weight and seeing putting together a video, looking at pictures.
Yeah, you look fucking great, dude.
Well, there was like a point in the middle where I'm like, wow, dude, I was fucking...
You were skinny.
I was jacked.
Yeah,
in
but
the middle, I was big, you know what I mean? But I still had a gut. And so I pushed it down to get rid of the gut. I lost a lot of muscle, too.
You look jacked.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So what are you doing to put the muscle back on? Because I know that you were counting the macros, and I know that that'll continue. But you were really looking at it to lose the weight.
Yeah, I was really trying to lose weight. I was at 1,800 calories a day, 180 grams of protein, 156 grams of carbs, and 40 grams of fat. And so now I'm bumping up the basically just the protein. So I went from like 180 to 210 and like an extra 300 calories. And the carbs went up a little bit too. But, yeah.
How do you figure that out? Like, how did you figure
Somebody
out?
smarter than me tells me what it is.
Then says this is what you can eat, dude.
Yeah. They give me the macro split, and then I, with the MyFitnessPal app or the Carbs app, you can just figure out, throughout the day with the things that you eat by tracking them, and ultimately it doesn't really matter what you eat, just as long as you hit those numbers. So.
Yeah, calories in, calories out.
Right.
But you're just eating. You're sticking right to if it's 1,800 calories, you're not going over. So if you burn 2,000 calories at the gym,
I'm still at 1,800.
You're staying at 18. You're not adding
the
extra free calorie bullshit.
I'm not adjusting for exercise or. It tries to do that for you. It'll be like, oh, you walked 15,000 steps today. Like you can, no, that's not what I'm trying to do here. You know. So.
Yeah, I lost a shitload of weight years ago when I used the FitnessPal app. It's like and I did it that way.
Yeah, it's good, dude.
You can't say, oh, I can eat an extra fucking cheeseburger because I went to the gym. That just ruins it.
No, I mean, I did that for 10 years. It doesn't work, And the thing is like, if you're not tracking, if you're not like actually tracking, you'll never hit your goals because you're always either undereating or overeating, right? And if you're undereating, you're not hitting your goals, and if you're overeating, you're not hitting your goals. And if you're fat and you're really undereating, like you're in too much of a calorie deficit, your body goes into starvation mode and hangs on to fat. Yeah. Right? And so there's like a delicate balance of finding the right kind of like the sweet spot, and for me that was like a 500 calorie deficit basically.
Yeah, and like you guys watching or listening at home, don't get it twisted when we're not just calling people fat. We were a couple of fat guys. Yeah. So like,
and I mean, to be honest, like I was a fucking fat guy my entire life, and I never subscribed to the like, fat acceptance. It's okay to be fat. I was fucking miserable being fat. Yeah, dude, I had no fucking self-confidence, and so like this whole like, oh, we have to fat. Like, okay, we don't have to roast fat people for being fat. I'm not down with that. But we also shouldn't promote it like it's healthy because it's not healthy, I don't care what you say. It's not healthy.
No, dude. I mean, I got out of the Air Force and, had some setbacks in life or whatever, but then I ballooned. I mean, I went from like 190, which is kind of where I want to be. I'm about 10 pounds away from that right now. Yeah. To like 260 at my biggest. Yeah, that's big. Fucking 5'10", bro. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't like he's just a big guy. Yeah. He's like, I can remember, here's a story that changed my fucking reality. Yeah. Because I was so big and I was doing everything wrong. Number one, I wasn't working out. Right. I was just like in this cycle of eating and drinking, and I was smoking a pack and a half of cigarettes a day. I was at a bar with two of my buddies, and I can remember This is back when you could smoke in bars.
Right.
And I was just sitting there, Miller Lights all over the table, because I'm not trying to gain a bunch of weight
You
drinking
don't want
beer.
the calories.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm smoking a cigarette, and I at this very moment, I looked over, and one buddy said to the other buddy, he's getting really big. Talking about me, right? And at that point, I was like, fuck this.
Yeah.
And the next day, I just went, kind of nuts. And I did wild shit, like only ate like salad for a month,
right.
and all kinds of stuff. But I fucking lost weight quick, and I lost it fast. And then I started working out. Then I quit smoking.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, like kind of like when you're that big, you have to work to be that big.
Yeah.
Like you have to eat a serious amount of calories every day to maintain that weight or to gain weight. Like, 3, 4, 5, 6,000 calories a day to be putting on weight when you're 260 pounds. And so, like, when people tell me, like, oh, I can't lose weight, it's like, bro, you're like 300 pounds. If you ate 3,000 calories a day, you would lose weight.
You would lose weight.
You know?
People don't get it. They just think that, like, you're just maybe having too many.
No.
You're literally overeating every meal.
Every
and
meal,
snacking.
every day. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that was kind of eye-opening to me when I started actually tracking. It's like, oh, this is what appropriate size meal looks like. There's no reason to have seconds. You don't need 2 fucking plates of food.
Yeah.
You're not the fucking world's strongest man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you didn't run 100 miles today and burn off so many calories that you need a 3,000 calorie meal. It's gluttony, you know?
A true statement. And even today, though, and I eat really healthy, because we're plant-based at home.
Right.
But just what you just said, though, I can finish, that plant-based meal.
Right.
I'll get up and go get the same amount I just had sometimes.
Right.
And I got to be like, whoa, dude, you don't need any more.
Right.
It's cool. Nobody else at the table is getting a big old, but Daddy is.
Right.
Right.
Big old wedge of vegan cheese on the side.
Hey, that shit's good, dude.
It's good. It's good.
It's really good. I don't know. Anyways, fat shaming. We're not doing that because we were fat guys.
I mean, to me, like, people who get upset, like, food is an addiction the same as drugs and alcohol. It is something that people use to change the way they feel.
Right.
Right? It is maybe not as dangerous of a substance as the other ones are, but it is absolutely that people use as a coping mechanism, escapism, change the way you feel. And so, like, to me, addiction isn't something that should be coddled, right? Like, oh, I'm sorry that you're feeling. Like, the thing that worked for me is like hardcore, like, let's call it like it is, own your fucking shit and make some real changes in your life. And so that's kind of my style. Like, when I work with guys, I just fucking call them out, because people will just lie and make excuses and want, you to co-sign their bullshit and why they can't do this or that. And I just don't fucking buy into it. Like, if I hit you up and ask you if you worked out and you're like watching the Lions game drunk, like, no, I couldn't, there's just so much going on today. It's like, you're drunk watching football right now. You made a conscious decision not to work out and to fucking flush your diet down the toilet so that you could drink and watch football. At least own it. You know what I mean? Be like, yeah, bro, you know what? Today was a big day, big game. I just decided to say, fuck it. I respect that more than I respect the fucking bullshit excuses,
100%. I tell people that all the time.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this is your opportunity.
Right.
Get up and go. I don't know.
Yeah, I had this guy. In my men's group. It was like, not like, paid to join the group and then completely not participating, not working out, not eating. And I call him on, and he's a Palestinian guy. He's like, bro, I'm so fucked up. My people are dying in Palestine. I'm like, that is the biggest crock of bullshit I ever heard in my fucking life. that people are dying in Palestine, so you're gonna fucking like not work out or eat and be on a fucking diet. Like, get the fuck out of here with that. I'm not fucking buying it. You're fat and lazy. Just own it.
What did he say?
He's like, you're right. He fucking came back and apologized.
Yeah, if you let an outside influences infiltrate your brain box, and that's what's telling you to stop, the worst thing you can do is stop. You got to go, because that'll clean it out. When I'm having the worst, like, anxiety or fucking stressful day, week, month, whatever, the one thing that always cures it is a workout.
Yeah. But a lot of people will just go to the food or go to the drinking or the drugs, because that's
it's easy.
Easy, right? That's much easier than going and working out. But like, it's hard to lose weight, and there's a lot of defeatist mentality that goes along with it when you failed so many times, and so people just give up and have a shitty attitude about it, and that's like, you can't do that. It doesn't matter how many times you failed, you have to keep fucking trying, because it will eventually stick, right? I can't tell you how many times I failed. Probably fucking 1,000, you know?
Dude.
1,000 times I said, I'm going to start again tomorrow. I'm going to start again tomorrow. I'm going to start again tomorrow. And eventually, you do that enough times, and it finally works,
Yeah, and the hard thing is, I want to talk about your men's groups too, but the hard thing is for the majority of people, telling them what they should do doesn't get them to do it.
Correct.
They have to find it within. I mean, I've had these conversations with, family members and close friends, like, hey, you want to make a change, you got to do it yourself. Yeah, but and I've done the whole, like, text message first thing, like, hey, what do you got going on today? Get out there and get after it. Go to the gym. I'm going at this time or whatever.
Yeah.
It never works. They've got to do it themselves.
Yeah.
And that's it doesn't matter who it comes from. There needs to be that thing. Like I said, I'm sitting in a bar smoking cigarettes. I'm 260 pounds. I'm getting drunk. And it took somebody to say to somebody else that I just caught. It was like the universe was like, hey, man, listen up real quick.
Yeah.
And basically he was saying, he's turning into a big fat piece of shit.
Right.
That's how I took it.
Yeah.
And that's what I needed to make a change. I wish I still had pictures. I watched because what I did is, as soon as I got to a certain point, I'm like, I'm erasing that fucking shit from memory, dude.
Oh.
I went into, like, Facebook from years ago and delete. Anything that looked like I was a big pig, I got rid of.
I did the same thing when I got sober, and I wish I hadn't.
Yeah, I do too, because now I want to show people.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, this is what's up. I'm not in the best shape of my life right now, but I'm on my way there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, so, like, when I got sober, I went back and deleted basically years and years of pictures, because I looked like I had, like, death in my eyes, I had been on, Oxy and opiates for so long, and Xanax. Every picture, my eyes were barely fucking open, and it looked like I had no soul. And I don't want that to be out there for the world anymore, so I fucking deleted all of them. And now when I go back, to put, to, like, show people, it's not there.
Yeah. And that sucks.
Yeah.
Because, you want to show that evolution.
Right.
It's inspiring.
Yeah, well, I see people put up these pictures of themselves, like, when they're fucking covered in meth sores and shit like that. And, I have a couple of pictures, when I was like 290 pounds, and, I got sunglasses on. You can't see my eyes, whatever. So definitely wish that I hadn't done that, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I was sensitive at the time about it,
Yeah. Well, me too. I mean, I was, trying to build a fake brand for myself,
Oh.
right? And, I could be vulnerable and say, hey, I wanted to make sure that whatever I was putting out in the world was this perfect fucking picture, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody does on, like, Instagram and shit.
Yep.
But I think what's more important is that you're honest with what you're putting out, so that there's somebody that's watching or listening to all the stuff that you put out, this conversation, that's going to be like, hey, fuck yeah,
Yeah.
I got some bumps in the road, but I'm ready to make a change.
Yep.
know?
Absolutely.
Most people don't look at perfect and say, oh, it's time for me to change because I want to be just like that. They need to relate to something.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
And I think you're doing a great job of that, for sure.
Thanks, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, I'm a very big proponent of visualization, because I genuinely think that if you can't visualize something for yourself, like you can't see yourself in shape, or you can't see yourself with your dream house and your dream car or your dream wife, that you deep down inside don't believe that it's possible, and so it won't happen for you.
Yeah.
Right? And so one of the things that I always struggled with was like I would lose a little bit of weight and I would see some progress, and then I would fucking stop and backtrack and eat. And it was because I'd been fat for so long I couldn't see in my head what I look like skinny or jacked, you know? And so I actually took pictures of myself and like edited them on my iPhone to like fucking wipe out my love handles, and then I'm like, oh dude, you'd fucking look jacked if you fucking didn't have this big gut, you know? And then I could actually see what I would look like.
Yeah.
You know, and then I could start fucking believing it and visualizing it. And so that was super helpful for me.
What's your routine looking like now? I mean, I know you still get up at fucking,
3:50.
Yeah.
I get up at 3:50.
Programmed for 3:50.
Yeah. I get up at 3:50. I go out to the kitchen. I pray real quick. I do 100 of the Mike Tyson push-ups.
I'm going to try to start doing those.
5 sets of 20.
Problem is my shoulders are just fucking destroyed, dude.
Yeah, my elbows are pretty rough. But it definitely, like, I feel good after I do that, you know? I stop drinking coffee. I have a tea, and then I've been writing. So, like, I'll sit down and write. There's a couple guys that I follow who, did this, like, write 1,000 words a day for 600 days in a row. So, like, I just started kind of on that path, but every day I've been, like, I write, my LinkedIn content or, whatever else I need to work on. Anything that's creative that requires focus and some serious, like, brain space, I have to do it early in the morning because that's when my brain works the best. And it's weird because I'm, like, hardly awake, but I can just sit down at my laptop at 4:10 a.m. and, like, start fucking pounding the keys, and it's, like, the best shit that I do. And if I try to do it at noon or 1 o'clock in the afternoon, it's like, oh, fucking squirrel. Oh,
yeah, well, all the things are coming in at that point,
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Gym, then when you hit in the gym.
And then I'm either going to the gym. It depends on the day and, what the situation is with my son and his daycare, whether we have to take him or I have to do anything with that. I either go to the gym and then go to work directly, or I go to the gym after work.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the praying. I
Yeah.
try to give I try to speak as much as I can to the Lord every morning. And I started really hitting the prayer hard in the cold plunge.
That'll help you find Jesus.
I'm telling you, dude, like, the praying throughout the day or whatever is one thing.
Yeah.
But that's like the quickest way to, like, center myself. And it's all for everybody else,
Yeah.
And it feels amazing to me. Spiritually, it just feels like it's a hell of a way to kick off the day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, for me, like, once my son was born, I kind of had this, like, I grew up Catholic, haven't been to church in a long time, went down a lot of spiritual rabbit holes when I got sober, and just realized that I don't have, like, what I would consider an acceptable level of faith. And, like, looking at my son and my wife and, like, thinking, like, well, I only know my son for, like, 30 years or something like that, 34 years. Like, that's terrifying to me, and so I'm like, I need to have faith, because when I see a man who has faith and hear him speak about it and hear him get choked up, like, I'm like, fuck, I want that, like, that's beautiful to me. And so I'm working on getting there, and it starts with praying every morning. And then we started going to church and doing some Bible study and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a certain amount of, I don't know what the right word is, but there's definitely a certain amount of bravery that comes with speaking about Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's uncomfortable for people to hear it sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, but the older I get, the more in tune I am with my own mortality.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's important to give praise where praise is due, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you ask for it, have you ever heard the story about the? It's like I don't know if it's a fable or whatever, but there's a flood that comes, and this gentleman is praying to God for help, and he makes his way to the roof of his house. The waters are coming up. He's on the roof of his house. He's praying to God. He's praying to Jesus. Please send some help. You know, please get me out of here, Jesus. And like, people come, like in a boat or whatever, and they're like, "Hey, we're here to help you." And he's like, "I got this. I'm praying to Jesus. He's gonna help me. He's gonna save me." And it's like all these things coming, like a helicopter or whatever, all these things. And he says no, and then he dies. He drowns, and he goes to heaven. And he's like, "Hey, I asked for your help, and you didn't help me." He's like, "What do you mean? I sent you a boat. I sent you a helicopter." What? I mean, I'm butchering the story.
No, I know the story.
You know, but but like when you ask, it comes. And dude, I see it all the time. And sometimes I'll tell Betsy, like, "Hey, wait a minute. Remember that thing you were asking for? I think this is your boat."
Yeah.
You know, she said that to me the other day too, and I'm like, I think you're right. I think I need to jump on that boat and take it. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's real. You know, I totally agree. And you know, if you look at like the way that this country has been trending, people have been moving away from religion, right? And people have been moving away from the nuclear family, and people have been moving away from the values that really made this country what it is. And we got to get back to it.
We have to get back to it. You know, I don't think you necessarily have to go to church to be a believer. I mean, I grew up Catholic. My wife grew up Catholic. You know, we've done the church thing. I think really, no matter what religion, you know, as long as you're not some kind of fucking fanatic who wants to kill people, do you. We all pretty much, in my opinion, are praying to the same person.
Yeah.
They just have different names. But, you know, you just have to walk the walk, you know. And I try to center myself, to go back to it and ground myself in prayer in the morning, because if I start my day with it, then I know I can continue through my day because of it.
Yeah.
You know.
You know, the thing that I ask for in the morning is to basically just show me the way. Everything else is for everybody else, but you know, business is super challenging, and sometimes you feel like you're fighting upstream all the time. And I start thinking, like, am I just trying to impose my will here, like, all the time? Am I completely on the wrong track? Because, like, everything's so fucking hard, you know? Like, am I just doing the wrong thing? And so I ask, like, you know, can you show me the way? Because if I'm just in my will all the time trying to fucking just manhandle everything, fucking squeeze square pegs into round holes, I don't want to do that, you know? So that's what I asked for.
Are you getting... So, I'm going to say it wrong, like your master classes and stuff like that you're doing. Can you speak to that a little bit? Because it sounds to me like you're definitely creating a brotherhood with like-minded individuals, or at least trying to help some individuals be better.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I have been kind of searching for, like, what's my purpose, you know, I survived things that a lot of people didn't survive. And I've always felt like there was some bigger reason that God saved me, or like that I didn't die when I overdosed, that I didn't die in all those horrible car accidents, that I didn't get shot in some fucking shady drug deal. And so I've always been looking for it. And it's like, you know, my purpose is not to, you know, have a construction company and like build houses, or, you know, do decks or whatever. And I don't think it's to grow weed for people, but I do have, you know, a pretty interesting journey that I've been on. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I've just been thinking a lot about, like, men have had it pretty rough in this country for the last few decades, right? You know, things have changed a lot. And I don't think that things need to go back to the way they were. But, like, I think that, you know, men are extremely lonely, right? They don't have a lot of friends. They're not doing social things. They're fucking fat at an incredibly scary rate. Obese, or 60% of men are overweight or obese. Depression is a huge issue. Suicide, like 80% of suicides are white males. And so like testosterone levels have been fucking decreasing. And so like when I look at men in the United States, like our stock has been going down.
Yeah.
And when I look at what I've done in the last decade, like, okay, well, my stock has gone up, and so I kind of wanted to create a community for men who want to make their life better. And, it's really starts with fitness, mental health, working on your relationships, and then finances, making more money, and then getting yourself to a position where you can give it back, right? Contribute what you have learned back to the community and help your brothers along the way. And so far, man, it's been really powerful to be a part of it.
How'd you get involved in this? Which one is this? Like, you have your own still.
Yeah, so it's a Men of Purpose group.
Yeah.
I started it.
You got some pretty interesting fellows in that group.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I started it with the guy who helped me get in shape, Brad Dunn, Reliant Fitness.
Yeah.
And originally I had this idea for the group, and I had been building it. But I don't consider myself a health and like a fitness guy, you know? Like, okay, I lost a bunch of weight, but I don't know macros. People give them to me. I don't program workouts. People give them to me, right? Brad gave them to me. So I went to him and said, hey, I'm building this program. Would you do the programming and the nutrition for it? And I'll pay you, like a flat fee or a per person fee or something. And he says, yeah, actually, he really liked the idea and said he'd rather like partner on the group. And so I said, all right, let's do it, because then, there's stuff. It's kind of built on this thing called the Legacy Code, and there's 5 pillars, right? And some of them I'm an expert in, I would say, and then some of them he's an expert in. And so like between the two of us, we really cover this really well. And so that's kind of the basis of what we're doing.
I looked at the website.
Yeah.
It's pretty sick. I wonder if he could provide me a plant-based plan.
Yeah, I mean, he just ran a marathon, dude. He's a powerful.
Yeah, he
powerful
looks
guy.
like the two of you look like a couple of convicts.
That's true. That's true. I heard
What's
that.
his story, man?
So he, blue collar guy from Southern California, started off as a mechanic, drinking problem, lots of fighting, lots of trouble with the law, and, made a big change in his life, got into the fire service, became a firefighter.
Nice.
And, but was still binge drinking 3 days a week or something like that, and, kind of fat. And then decided one day that he was going to go after this, fitness coaching thing, because he'd always been interested in it. Had been a fitness trainer at one point. And so he started doing this, online fitness coaching thing, and he just blew up, dude. I mean, he went from 0 to 300,000 followers in a year.
Yeah, no, I follow him. He's, he's intimidating.
Yeah, and he's just a really nice,
seems like a good dude,
everyday guy. And it's like when you talk to him, it's like, okay, you're just the same as me or anybody else. So if you can do this, get yourself in shape and change your life, and I think that's kind of the other thing that I bring. It's like we're just regular guys, accessible. Because when some of these masterminds you get into with a guy who's worth, a couple $100 million. Yeah. Like if you're just trying to make your mortgage payment or your rent payment and, maybe start making 6 figures, like talking to a guy who makes $100 million doesn't feel accessible, and so that's kind of, it's like everyday guys helping everyday guys.
Yeah. Well, I think there are simple paths to wealth if you just do things correctly, not be a fucking dummy when it comes to your finances.
Right.
You pay off shit, stop using credit cards, if you're in a job that you don't like, continue to do that job, and then find something that you do like and work on that.
Right.
That sounds really simple, but I believe it to be true. Hey, what do you got there? Doing a little Zimbabwe's?
Yeah,
a little upper lippy dippy. I got to keep that shit away from me, though, dude.
Yeah, that's why I didn't offer you one.
Because I'll go deep into it. But
yeah, I mean, like, that's one of the things that we work on, right? Because I started my life over when I was 30, living in a halfway house, taking the bus, working for somebody else at a company that was tiny, like $500,000 a year, didn't have an office. I would take the fucking AC Transit bus to this guy's house in Oakland and sit at his kitchen table, and I wrote a marketing plan, and then I went out and borrowed his wife's car and started going out marketing,
Yeah.
Built this business that I eventually wound up, owning a third of it. But, like the formula is relatively simple. If you're in a job that you see a path forward, you like it, you could see yourself doing this, you have to apply yourself outside of 9 to 5 in order to advance quickly.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, for me, it was, I spent a fucking lot of hours working on that. And it paid off in a relatively short period of time, like a couple of years. That was a multi-million-dollar business, and I put myself in a position where I could own a third of it. I stayed at the office late. We got an office within a year. I stayed there late at night, taught myself how to read blueprints so that we could bid bigger jobs, and transition the company. I went out and got my general contractor's license and turned it from a painting company into a construction company, right? And those were things that I did outside of 9 to 5, where I just continued to add value and build the business, right? And that you can do that anywhere, right? Like, you can do that in any job. Like, if you have a job that you like and you want to advance, like, show up in a couple months with a fucking raw new skill set and tell me that your boss isn't going to be pumped and fucking
stoked,
give you a fucking raise, and and if it's a shitty job that doesn't work like that, okay, then maybe you need a side hustle, because I did that too. Right? I fucking grew weed, and my side hustle wound up becoming my everyday life now, right? My full-time fucking gig. So there's multiple ways to do it depending on your situation, but it's about being a little bit creative, seeing the path, and then executing.
I posted something on my LinkedIn page yesterday, actually, that really translates nicely to what you're saying. And what it was about was basically empowering your team, your employees.
Yep.
Like, we've had this conversation before. Do what you can to make them better, empower them to be better. They might be the right person in the right seat in your company right now, and there's no movement for them because you've got all your pieces in place.
Right.
But they are continuing to learn. They are continuing to better themselves. They're making themselves more marketable as an employee, and then encourage them if they decide to leave to take on a job that's gonna be a little bit higher level than what they're currently doing. Because what happens there is that you form a partnership with somebody who's on your team, who might be under your employ, but leaves, gets better, does some better things, grows. You could partner with them depending on what career they've taken, or they might come back with some even more skills that benefit your company, and you can place them in higher positions. Their wealth goes up, their knowledge goes up, their status goes up. All the things.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that, vibe with that. I encourage people to, like you said, there isn't room in every company for everybody to get better and become management or an executive. It just, those are limited positions, but you can certainly, get your stock up here and go somewhere else, become marketable, and go out in the market and find that opportunity. I'll always encourage people to do that. I want everybody to fucking make more money. I want everybody to improve their life, improve their status in life. So I'm definitely behind that 100%.
Things are going good?
Yeah, man. It's, fucking business is hard, dude.
Business is hard. It is.
And the bigger business gets, the harder things get. It's like, more money, more problems, like that's 100% true.
Yeah.
What changes is your ability to deal with problems, right?
Right.
You become unflappable. Like I have a number of lawsuits going on right now. When I was just getting started, if I got sued or was involved in a lawsuit, it really affected me. Now it really affects me for like 5 minutes, and then it's fucking back to business as usual.
Yeah.
Because it's just part of the deal. Like once you get into things that involve millions of dollars, people fucking sue each other. It's just part of the gig. And if you can't handle it, if you can't fucking keep your cool when it happens, then you can't do it, And so like for me, it's about zooming out, right? Like when something happens, because something always happens. Something happens every day, right? Like in business, there's a fire every day. And if you react to every fire and get fucking worked up and stressed out, you'll lose your fucking mind.
Yep, you'll stroke out.
You'll stroke out, exactly. So for me, it's zooming out. Like 12 months from now, will I even remember this?
Exactly.
Usually the answer is no. And if the answer is no, then it's not something I'm going to get stressed out about.
Right.
And if the answer is yes, then it's, okay, well, in 5 years will I remember this?
Yeah.
Then usually the answer is no, and you can still fucking calm down, right?
Yeah. It's all perception. Ideal. A smaller scale, certain things, I get it. I get into my own head sometimes because of the, I'd be interested to see what your take is on this. With like our social media presence, right? I get into my own head sometimes like, all right, well, things are evolving, things are changing, people will have questions, go down the list, what's going on, I've got multiple businesses too. I don't think one is any more important than the other, because if you start thinking in those terms, then
it's like having a kid that you like more than the other one.
Yeah, exactly. You really can't do that because the other one's just going to get fucked.
Yeah, the other one's going to like eat a bottle of aspirin or something.
Right. Well, I guess where I'm going with this is perception used to be, it never used to be as magnified as it is today because of social media.
Absolutely.
And when you get something like this that's going on in the background, how do you handle maybe some of that negativity that could spring up? For me, I've been really good at not even fucking doing anything. I don't read any comments, unless I know the person. Unless you comment on something and you say, "Hey, you're being gay."
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't read anything. None of the comments unless I know the people.
Yeah.
Good or bad, because I do believe that if you let the bad shit get in your head, it's going to bring you down. If you let the good shit get in your head, it's going to give you an inflated,
right. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, so like, my Instagram doesn't get a lot of comments outside of this like kind of group of guys who are in my world and all kind of pushing and supporting each other. So the Instagram stuff is generally very positive.
Yeah. I'd agree with that.
I do respond to everything just because I know it's good for the growth. My LinkedIn, I've kind of made a point of being more polarizing lately and starting to talk about things like capitalism and, the loud minority and kind of some anti-woke stuff. And, the comment section can get a little hectic, and I go to battle with people because I like it, and I challenge people to fucking public debates, and so far nobody's accepted, and it's like if you feel like this, we have nothing to talk about. It's like that's the problem with this country right now, is that you and I disagree on something and you're not willing to talk about it.
Yeah,
you just want to fucking throw around labels and then fucking walk away. I don't get down like that. If you want to fucking see me, let's have a fucking Zoom call and we'll put it on the fucking internet for the world to see.
I mean, I like what you're doing.
Yeah.
But I just can't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I can get into a debate with somebody. I'm fine with that. What I'm talking about is like, if somebody calls, I get enough comments that like, hey man, you're kind of you're a piece of shit. I don't like it. Or there's like dumb stuff like, your fucking podcast looks stupid. You know what I mean? And it's just trolly stuff. So I'm just like, whatever. I'm not even going to.
I've been fortunate that I haven't, you've been doing this for a lot longer than I have, and your content is a lot different than and it gets a lot more eyeballs than mine does, right? So it's the same kind of thing, right? Where it's like a volume game. Yeah. More volume, more problems. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I'm not there yet. I'm sure I'll get there at some point. But yeah, I'm trying. Like stuff like that would bother me, right?
Yeah.
Like if I started getting a bunch
surprised.
of...
That's why I asked you the question, because some of I watch all your shit.
Yeah.
I follow you on every platform.
Yeah.
So I see it all.
Yeah.
And, it's pretty pointed.
Right.
Kind of like what we're talking about now, the things that we're talking about now. And so I'm always like, oh, I bet you his comments are fucking insane on this. But I stay away from them because you're my friend, and if I start reading them, then I'm like, listen, fucker.
Yeah, dude, it doesn't get, and I'm trying to figure out how to get more engagement because I don't get a lot of engagement, Not even from people just being like, this guy's a fucking idiot, or, fuck this fat retard, or...
Do you think that it's because of the type of content that you're putting out that it's being pushed down?
It might be,
because when I see it, I'm like, oh, that is fire. Like that's gonna blow up.
That's interesting that you say that. I don't know. I talked to a social media manager person yesterday because I'm starting to get frustrated with the fact that it's like, man, the growth is incredibly slow. I've been consistent for quite some time now, and I don't get pushed. I get pushed within my circle, right? Guys who are tagging me or putting me in their shit. I pick up followers from them, but I'm not picking up followers from the fucking greater Instagram community.
Yeah, we need to figure that out.
Yeah,
I'm kind of in the same boat. I've kind of plateaued on all of my. It'll take if I use TikTok for an example, if I hit on TikTok a good banger of a video, I'll gain a bunch of followers. Right. But if it's just everyday posting there, normal, just like everybody that watches it is who's watching it. There's nobody new. The same thing is happening with Instagram. It's plateaued.
Right.
Facebook, I exploded on Facebook a little over a year and a half ago. But it's been,
yeah, you did.
But I'm noticing things now, because the reason why this shit's important, because we're monetized. Right? It's the same thing.
I'm not monetized.
I thought you were. I thought you told me you were.
I'm monetized in my own way, but I'm not monetized on the platforms. I'm not getting a check from anybody except for guys who opt into my programs.
Yeah, I have some advertising revenue, but the majority of my income on social media comes from the platforms.
Right.
And so I'm trying to ensure that growth is there.
Yeah.
Because it's important to me, because I want to upgrade shit. I want to upgrade all this stuff. I want to continue to do
so people don't say your fucking podcast shit sucks, right? Fuck them.
Well, I don't...
Give us more money.
It's like any business. I don't take from Manistee Beverage Company to pay for Nomi Racing. I don't take from Nomi Racing to pay for Manistee Local. You know what I mean? So it's got to come from within. That's that simple path to wealth shit. You can't steal from one hand to
robbing
feed
Peter to
the
pay
other.
Paul.
Yeah. Where am I going? So basically, it's it's trying to figure out what we can do. I'm finding that written word is doing really well on Facebook.
Really?
Which is odd. But so there's structures. So monetization on Facebook is there's a bunch of tiers, right?
Yeah.
So you can get paid for subscriptions. I have a subscription page, but there's nobody there yet. I'm still kind of working on that. It's kind of like Facebook's version of Patreon or Substack, right? But then they have the Reels, so that if you ever see an ad on the bottom of a reel, that's where the money's being generated, and you get paid through ads on Reels, and then you get engagement bonuses on pictures, long-form video that's not a reel. Lives, comments, likes, all this other shit. The more something goes out.
Right.
So there's a bunch of tiers there. So it's like, so you're playing this game of like where do you put stuff?
Right.
How do you prioritize stuff? So there's a certain demographic of people that are just there to read your shit, and there's a certain demographic that's there to watch your shit, and that's kind of like a rob Peter to pay Paul, just
Right.
on that one. But the followers are so like they're just there. They're not going up or down.
But where are you in, like the 70,000-ish range?
79.
79.
Yeah.
That's a lot, dude.
This morning I checked, it was like 79 and change. But, and it's weird too, because like I talked to my kids, like, okay, so like, you guys aren't on Facebook. They're not.
Right.
Like, kids aren't. Like, that Gen Z is really not.
Sure.
So it's like, at what point does it stop being a viable option for creators?
Right.
Because I'm putting all my eggs, I shouldn't say that, the majority of my eggs I'm going to put into like YouTube. I really think YouTube is still going to grow,
Oh, yeah.
you know, in comparison to these other platforms that are trying, because really everything that's happened over the last decade it with social media platforms has in a sense been a copycat of YouTube.
Yeah, very
You
much
know.
so.
So I don't know. It was a little bit of a marketing ramble there, but I think it's important. So like for you, this is where I'm going with it. For you, I can see you evolving into a space and that's driven and is profitable through social media.
Right.
More so than your cannabis business.
Right, which is why I had to pivot away from that, because that was very clearly like getting taken down, getting shadow banned, and I don't know what effect that has had on the account, but I've largely stopped, you know, on my personal stuff, posting a lot of cannabis content because it was just getting stuffed, you know.
Yeah.
And so I've been kind of making this more like, you know, content for men, red pill or whatever, if you will, but you know, it still has been like, I think last night I posted I did a post with like 7 pictures and just like a little like couple lines about sobriety, and
I saw that.
That
saw
did
it
better
this
than
morning.
any fucking reel that I've put an hour into making.
Mama Bear was in that one though, wasn't she?
Yeah. The first picture
helps.
was me and my wife.
Whatever makes the picture look better.
Right.
Because you don't, my friend.
Thank you very much. No, the opening picture was great. It was in Denver for my cousin's wedding. There was this wild, incredible sky behind us. That was like that's a good picture. You know, and sobriety is kind of like in right now. You know, like I see a lot of people talking about it, you know, and guys who aren't necessarily even addicts just being like, this doesn't add to my life. And so.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And I see that in my business, you know, where people are like, hey, I'm just looking for an alternative. What do you have? You know? And it's like the gateway is NA beer, but now it's like there's a bunch of, you know, mocktails and non-alcoholic drinks that kind of remind somebody of what it's like to have a margarita, but it's not a margarita. That's
right,
huge.
or these alternatives are also becoming a big, like, plant-based mocktails and, you know, ashwagandha in seltzers and shit like that. I think I get a lot of ads for it because I think they market it specifically to sober people. Like if you're hashtagging sobriety and we do recover, then they're going to market these things to you on Instagram.
Yeah.
Speaking of your business, like how are things going here?
Really good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome, man.
You know, I sold the real estate.
I do know that you sold the real estate.
Yeah. So, I'm also being bought out. The business is being bought out.
Hallelujah. James is rich. Let's go. We're going Sizzler.
It's one of those deals.
We're going Sizzler.
Yeah.
Going Sizzler.
By the way, you heard it here first, folks.
I teed that up for you.
Yeah, you did, kind of. Yeah. It was, you know, Betsy and I have been thinking about a way. Well, like, remember we did a podcast some time ago in your old studio.
Yeah.
Where I talked about that book, Built to Sell.
Yeah.
And
you gave me a copy of it.
I gave you a copy of it.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's true. I think in every business, if you don't build it to sell it, then it's going to fail.
Yeah.
We've talked about the layers and the growth, and what are you doing? You got to make it appealing.
Yeah.
You got to make it appealing to somebody to buy it, or it's a shitty business.
Yep.
100%. So since day one, since the day that we put the business plan together, we've been building it to sell it. And the deal is layered. Attorneys involved and all that stuff. But it began with trying to find somebody to take on the real estate, because our real estate value skyrocketed in the last couple of years. It's a big piece of property on a very important corner in our city.
Yep.
So we needed to find the right person to take that on.
Right.
And then in doing that, I also was on the hunt for somebody that had the interest and capital to take on the business.
Yeah.
And the assets and all of that, because there's hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of assets within the property too. So
Yep.
we needed to find somebody that could handle that. It's not that easy to do. You can't take a loan out on alcohol.
No.
So there's a lot of layers there. So we were able to do that. We were able to sell the property separately, and we found a buyer to take on, basically, who's mostly interested in, who's got enough capital to just scoop everything up.
Right.
And do with it what they will. We're going to keep the social media, and we're
Good.
keeping the name.
Yeah.
So it's important that, because the name is attached to so many things.
Right.
And that was a kind of a negotiating deal there that had to be done.
Yeah.
You can't take all this other stuff that you didn't earn.
It's exciting, man. Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's massive.
Yeah.
That's the fastest way to build generational wealth, is to build a company and sell it.
Yep. And that's the goal with the other companies too. It's or whatever else I do next.
Yeah.
If I decide, there's things I want to do. There's other companies I want to invest in. There's other people I want to help, give a hand up to.
Yeah.
And shine a light on. So I think the future just got brighter.
Yeah.
And it frees me up to do a bunch of shit that I want to do, like take a breather for a little bit, refocus, put my energies into the podcast and my racing company, because that's really important to me too. And this has allowed me to, it's nuts, man. Really, this deal was negotiated because of social media.
Yeah. Social media is fucking powerful, man.
Yeah. That what was built because of, just being online
Yeah.
is insane. It really is.
So you're moving to Florida now?
No. And we won't be taking any vacations. We're both still focused on, when I say both, Betsy and I, we're very
Right.
focused on, the other businesses, what she's got going on. So
Dope.
yeah, it is what it is. So I'm pumped.
You should be, dude.
Yeah.
It's fucking massive.
Yeah. So we'll and that was the question, because I'm gonna put out kind of like a mea culpa to
Yeah.
the public, because we have been doing this. Well, you negotiate deals.
Yeah.
It's not easy,
No.
and in a deal like this, it involved attorneys,
Oh, yeah.
and it's you can't do a lot of this stuff without spending a little. You got to spend money to make money.
Absolutely. Scared money don't make money.
Yeah. So I will probably take a couple of weeks off of social media,
Yeah.
just to kind of, do a little reset. I'm going to put out a little post that kind of celebrates this, because I think it's definitely worthy of a celebration for me and my family. So,
100%.
And if anybody out there has got some shit to say about it, it's just because they're not at a position in their life where they feel like they can win.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
that's unfortunate for them. But
Yeah. Absolutely.
yeah, so I'll hit the go button on that, and then we'll post this.
It's dope, dude.
So that'll be in a couple of weeks.
Alright.
I'm going to finish out this month, and then we're just going to quietly turn the key.
Go
and
away
then I've
like
got,
a fart in the wind.
Yeah. Well, there's a bunch of work I need to do inside. I'm still looking for a podcasting studio.
Yeah.
Which is, I had a fucking line on just a awesome space, but it was promised to somebody else. The person that was going to run it to me was like, I gotta make sure.
Come take half my office.
Half your office over at the
Yeah, the DNR station.
Jesus, that's probably too big. That's probably too big. I don't know. I got a couple more places I'm looking at, but it's going to happen quick. You know, I mean, I'll be at 401 for a few months because there's a lot of work that needs to be done in here. You know, part of the deal is I'm under a lease agreement until the end of April, and then I'm going to help the owner of the property put something else in here, some kind of retail space or something like that. So, during all that, I hope to find something. I want to be downtown.
Yeah.
You know, I want to stay a stakeholder downtown. It's important to me. So
Sure.
I'd like to plant my racing company along with the podcast, so that way I can still kind of have, you know, the downtown's important.
Yeah.
And it's important to the community. So, and I want to make sure I'm still a player in that.
Yeah.
You know?
It's dope, dude. Exciting.
Yeah. I don't want to finish this just yet.
Okay.
I want to talk about barn dominiums really quick.
Yeah.
This is a fucking wild segue from all of that to selling the store to barn dominiums.
Yeah.
But like, I think I want one. I think our next move, when we move, we want to move out a little bit. And I've been looking at them, and I know I've been picking your brain a little bit about them. You said you kind of had a shitty contractor, but
sure did.
But is the space worth it?
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, I wish I had gone bigger. There's stuff that we should have done, like put a basement, you know. But yeah, dude. I mean, it's nice to have a big space.
How many bedrooms do you have?
We only have 3 bedrooms.
Oh, that's perfect. How many square feet?
3 bedrooms and an office. It's 4,000 square feet.
Okay.
So everything's very big, you know. I could use more rooms, but everything's very big.
Yeah, I mean, the ceilings are
very big, very tall, open, you know, heated floors. You know, we did, you guys should come check it out.
I do. I want to check it out. I told Betsy, I'm like, we should check this place out.
Yeah. You know, you can do cool stuff. We did like a metallic epoxy floor. Yeah, it's fun. We really like the space, you know.
Why did you choose that style?
It just kind of fits our style.
I never heard about it until you told me that's what you were living in.
Yeah.
I'm like, well.
My wife had been looking at them online, and then also Calvin Lutz was talking about it too, and we were kind of figuring out what we were going to do here, and my wife just like, well, I want to design one, and let's build it. So I'm like, all right, fuck it, let's go, you know? And so she did. She designed the house, and we got it built. It took a long time. Shouldn't have taken that long, but that's back to the contractor thing. I really like, you know, it fits our style, right? Like, we like this Western style. You know, before we moved here, we lived in cowboy country. We had rodeo horses. We were doing that whole kind of lifestyle. And that, you know, it kind of fits, right? It's like the barn dominium thing. It looks, you know, we live out in the middle of a big field, and it's us, you know?
How much was the savings going with that versus, or what would they have been?
It's cheaper. It's definitely cheaper than building a stick frame house.
Yeah, I've been doing a
100%.
ton of research on it, and I feel like, you know, if I was to build the same size,
oh yeah,
it'd be like
way more.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think Betsy's sold on it. I'm sold on it, dude.
Yeah,
I got to take her through yours, I think.
Yeah, I think if she comes and sees, like, it's, you know, one of the things is that if you, like, I don't have the vision to see, like, what a space will look like, you know, when my wife's talking about these ideas. And, like, one of the things, for instance, is, you know, this big open living area. Like, the kitchen, living room, dining room are all kind of one big space. And you look at it, it's like, well, how does that work, you know?
Right.
But then once everything is in, you're like, oh, this works, you know?
Right.
I mean, my kid can, like, ride his bike inside, you know?
The floors are pretty sick. And
Yeah.
is that a standard deal with the?
I mean,
pouring that.
yeah, it's poured concrete. Ours are heated, which is really nice. That heats the whole house. Super efficient. And then we did this metallic epoxy on top of it. You can do a lot of stuff though. You can stain it. You could put down flooring if you wanted to, but we like the concrete, so that's what we went with. There's no seams. It's super easy to fucking clean it.
Yeah, dude. And the heated floors?
The heated floors are
That's
money.
sick.
Yeah.
That's money. That's
Yeah.
money. Yeah, the one thing Bets was like, well, I don't think you can get a basement. I go, for a fuck, sure you can get a basement.
you
I'm going
can
to text
definitely.
Willie.
You can definitely have a basement.
And then I Googled it, and they're like, yeah, you can get a basement.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We were in a rush, and we shouldn't have been in a rush. I wish we had slowed down and, like, done some things differently. But I have a feeling that it's not going to be the last house we ever build.
Sure.
And that next time we'll make some different decisions, you know.
Would you do the same style, a barn dominium? Or?
We would probably do the same style again,
Yeah?
yeah. I really like the, big open fucking floor plan. It's nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's sick, dude. I got to do it.
Do it.
We don't know what we're going to do, to be honest with you. But
It's nice being out of town, dude. I tell you what.
I mean, we want to move a little out of town,
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, we love where we're at. The
It's hard to be
accessibility.
famous when you're like so close to your neighbors, you know? People just want to
Yeah.
take selfies with you all the time, I imagine.
No, they don't.
No? Oh, okay.
Although it is weird knowing, like, that people... I've had a few encounters with people that follow me on social media, and the vast majority of encounters with people are like, hey, I love your videos or whatever, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. Those are fucking great,
Yeah.
you know? But I've had some odd ones, dude,
Yeah.
where I'm like, you're making me feel a little uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah,
You
that's
know?
not fun.
I've had people show up that I've never seen before. Yeah,
Yeah, that's weird.
yeah.
I mean, the other thing is like, so we've been living a rural lifestyle for like 7 years now. I want to be able to piss outside. Like, I just go outside my house, piss. Like, nobody tells me shit. I can't see any fucking neighbors. Like, I really like living where I can't see neighbors.
Yeah.
It's really important to me. And one of the things that we've been talking about, because now we have a kid, and like we want him to have friends, and like, so, we have actually discussed moving more into a community. My
How
wife,
far out do you live, though?
we live Chief in 9 Mile.
Yeah, you're out there, dude. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to...
There's no, like, he can't, like, where I grew up, there was just kids in the neighborhood, and I'd fucking ride my bike out in the morning, and I'd come home at night, you
Yeah.
know? And I don't know that really exists anymore, but I'm sure it does in some places.
I will say that you need to encourage... You need to supplant yourself around people that feel the same way. Like,
Absolutely.
Our kids were always outside playing.
Right.
Mary, who's 8, is always outside playing, but she's fucking playing by herself. And
Right.
the neighborhood, dude, is full of kids.
Right.
Now, I never see them outside.
Yeah. That's a great point. That it's got to be people of the same ilk,
Yeah.
who have the same values and are interested in the same things,
Yeah. Like us.
like us.
We gotta keep.
We got to
keep
start a
going.
community or a cult.
I'm gonna check into your thing. Do I get a discount code?
Start a Barndo community.
I love you like a brother.
Love you too,
Thank
bro.
you for coming
Appreciate
on.
you, man. Thank you.
And yeah, so in a couple weeks I'll post everything, and then you can.
Dope. Sounds good, dude.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.